Let's just call Priscilla agent locator, Google lead, extraordinaire converter.
Yeah, I like the agent locator leads. They're good.
Bravo.
Yeah.
I agree. Hi, John. Crystal, I reached out to Crystal when we did our last webinar and said, we got to get this wonderful realtor on, because, as much as Crystal and I can share all of our experiences and all of our tips and our tricks, it's so nice, right, Crystal, to be able to have somebody else who
Absolutely
has put in place systems, who is time blocking, who and I'm really building you up right now, Priscilla, aren't I?
Yep.
Really said to herself, I'm buying these leads, and recognized that over the last year, you were at a stalemate with them. They weren't getting to where you wanted to be. And Priscilla reached out to me and said, I heard about your systems, would you take me on? She was the last client I've taken on, just because really, what do I say, Priscilla? I cannot divide myself up into 25 anymore.
Yeah.
This amazing realtor just started implementing the systems, implementing the drip, adding her own little bits and pieces, not much, but a little bit. And all of a sudden, Crystal, this is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Every other week, oh my God, Tara, another lead in the car. Thank you. Oh my God, Tara, I just sold a house. Thank you. Oh my God, Tara, I did 7 deals last week or last month.
Yeah.
Tara, it's your systems.
Nice.
Am I right, Priscilla? And just so that everybody kind of knows, she made the #1 realtor. So where I would like to start is, now that I've built you right up, my friend, is tell everybody, where were you with your leads, and what was your frustration before you said, I got to self-check, I need to make changes now?
Yeah, so I had been using Agent Locator a while, and I found that unless I got someone on the phone, there was no progress with any of them. So that's why I wanted to see kind of what your drip campaigns are about, because it's you can't always get someone on the phone, right? It's great when you do. But I wanted to be able to, not have them only get the new listings, but get like some valuable content from me, and just wanted to make sure I wasn't also calling them too much or harassing them too much. So I wanted to find just like the good way of treating these people like respectfully, and offering them a lot of value, right? And then just kind of reminding them that, hey, I know you may not be ready now, but I'm here. So, I wanted to just implement a system as automated as possible to just remind them that I'm here, and
Right.
even if I can't get them on the phone, that there's someone here willing to help them. And I also just wanted I wanted more of like to figure out the mindset I needed to have when dealing with these people. So that was I would say the biggest change was very much like discovering people before numbers, and it's their timeline, not yours. And when you shift that, and when you stop thinking about what you need and what they need, that's when everything changes for sure.
Did you feel like, because we all tend to, don't we, Crystal, get on the leads, and I think as realtors, because we're commission sales based, of course we're looking at our bills that are coming up, and we need to make money, and we need to do deals, and da. Did you feel like at any point after a certain period of time, let me rephrase this, what was the moment where you said, okay, you know what? It's easy for me to blame the leads, but maybe this is me and what I'm doing?
Yeah, I think I have like my biggest success story. I'll talk about that, and it's where I really just focus on what the lead wanted or didn't want at the time. And what happened with that one was she reached out to me. It was one of those get in touch requests, which those are golden, by the way. If you get one of those, like get on those right away. Those are, those are people ready and they want a response fast. So she reached out to me and wanted to see some homes. So it was like 9 p.m. and we booked showings like the next morning. And in Calgary, we still have a really hot market in a certain price range. So I showed her what was available, which wasn't much, and it wasn't pretty. So we went to see homes, and after the morning showings, we were supposed to go see another one in the evening. It was just not available to view right away. But after the morning showings, she was like, I don't like any of these homes. I'm not moving anymore. There's just nothing available in my price range. I don't want to move. And I was like, okay, sure. If you need anything in the future, I'm here to help. Like, I wasn't about to, in the past, I would have tried to be like, oh, like it's not that bad or whatever. I would have tried to like, work things in my favor. But at that point, I was like, she's clear. She doesn't want to move. She didn't like any homes. I'll just let it be.
Mhm.
So I told her, hey, I'm here in the future. I'm here to help if you change your mind. And then like a week later, I get a call from her, and she was still receiving the emails from Agent Locator. And she had seen 2 homes pop up that she would have liked. And so she started asking me like, I'm concerned about not being able to find a home, but now I've just seen these 2 homes. Like, what are you thinking? So I explained to her, like, yeah, here's the current environment, right? You're going to be competing. You're going to have to act fast. There's not much to choose from, but what I'll do is I'll send you some sales going 3 months back of homes I think you'll like. And then you can see how often they come up. And then you tell me if you're comfortable with that, right? So, and then I let her make the decision, and she came back and she's like, yeah, let's do it. So I listed her house, right? So she had a house to sell, which happened to be a few streets down from mine. She bought a house, so that was 2 deals from her. And then I double-ended her listing, so 3 deals. And then I got a realtor.ca lead from her listing, who I'm still working with. But he referred his friends to me that he just happened to bring on a showing tour, and I just firmed up their sale a week ago. So 4 deals from that lead, probably a 5th one coming soon. So, and I think it really just because I focused on her what she wanted and her personality, and I really just gave her the information she needed, let her come to her own decision, and it wasn't about me at all. It was. I think she came back to me because I didn't pressure her, because I didn't, try to tell her, no, you should move.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, it became 4 or 5 deals, right? So,
Mhm.
Can you guys, this is exactly the things that for the last 18 years, when it comes to the Google leads that I've experienced over and over and over again, go back, Priscilla, because remember, Priscilla took her out, showed her a couple of homes. This lady got frustrated, never going to be able to buy these homes are crap, right? And was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to move now.
Mhm.
So first thing that Priscilla did first thing right away was she did not delete that woman, right? If she had have deleted her, she would have got 0, right? But Priscilla was like, okay, I've refocused. This is not about me. This is about her. So I'm just going to keep her on the program and see what happens. And then boom, she came back, right?
Yeah.
So if I could share any word of advice, we are so quick at times to delete people because we're not getting a quicker response, a quicker paycheck. Remind everybody how many deals you have now done from somebody that went out once and said, I'm not moving anymore, I'm good. How many deals was it? Was it 5?
4 firm, 1 will be firm probably next month.
Well, I'm saying 5.
Yeah. And I know those people will be good repeat clients and referral sources as well. They're like really, they're going to be, I have a relationship with them, so they'll for sure be in my back pocket, and it's like a snowball effect, right? So, but it starts with you've got to figure out what to do properly and,
Right.
adapt if you need. Mhm.
So do you feel, and Crystal, you and I have talked about this a lot, where I think every agent, especially when they're investing in the Google leads, and it is money that we're spending. And of course we want to get satisfaction right away, right? Of course we do. We're all human. But when it comes to the mindset, when it comes to that, all right, you know what? I can no longer blame the market, the leads, people, I'm not getting enough. I'm not, you know what I mean? We all have to reach that point where, like we talked about just over in our webinar in January, Crystal, when you asked me, what did you do about your business over the Christmas holidays? And that's when I always do self-check, right? Look at what I'm doing. Am I getting the results that I want? Yes or no? If I'm not, it's not everybody else to blame. I only myself to self-check. So before deciding to look into doing something different, Priscilla, how long were you on the leads? Was it about a year?
I think so, but I had started in the beginning. I wanted to focus on certain areas of Calgary only, and I wanted to test that out. And it turns out like it was just not enough traffic in those areas. So I don't really want to count those first months.
Yeah.
So I think so we started coaching in January. It was probably 6 months by then that I was getting like the steady income of leads, the steady influx of and just to kind of tie into what you were talking about, like it's you just have to come to that realization that not everyone is going to act right away. That would just be nonsense. Like, could you imagine if everyone signs up?
You wouldn't be able to
away?
manage it all. You'd be...
Yeah, I know. So what I do is I have my 25 call sessions where I sit down and I do 25 calls, and it doesn't even take me an hour, honestly. And I do like 3 to 4 times a week only. But if I only get one good call out of those, I don't curse the 24 other calls. I just part of it. That's you're not going to get everyone. That's
no.
If it were
some days like everyone might answer, and the next day no one answers, right? So it's all hit and miss, and we all run on different schedules, and it's just it's really how you're doing it continuously, right? You're committed to doing it. You have a routine and a strategy behind it.
So do you want to share maybe with everybody what your time blocking schedule looks like when it comes to calling and doing your leads?
Yeah, so I used to be, in the beginning, I used to be really obsessed with calling. I think I would call too much. And I would do I would try to call the new lead registrations as soon as they would register, and I've stopped doing that. After speaking with Tara, I realized that, that's not, in my opinion, it's not necessary, and it's not my thing. I wasn't resonating with it. So what I do now is, because those people are set up on drip campaigns, I don't feel bad if I can't call everyone. So generally, like 3 to 5 days a week, I'm calling people, and my goal is 25 calls, not more, not less, because I don't want to I don't want to do more, and I don't think I should be doing less. And it takes me about an hour. I usually do it. So like I'm in Calgary, so and we deal with a lot of Ontario people, and there's a 2-hour difference. So I try to do it where I can catch all the time zones. We also get a lot of BC buyers too, actually. So I don't want to do it at 9 a.m. because I don't want to call BC people at 8 a.m. So I usually try like 11 a.m. because that way I can catch everyone on those time zones. And I do 25 calls. I mix it up. I will call some of the newer leads, not the fresh brand new ones. I'll call like the ones that are a few days old. Then I'll mix it up with some mid-range leads, and then I'll call the older leads because, as we know, when someone registers, most of the time they're not going to act right away. So I don't really want to bombard a new lead. I don't, like the probability that they're going to act right away is low, and they might also be getting harassed by other realtors calling them too, right? Because when they sign up on both sites, then they've got everyone calling them. So that's something I adjusted. And I know there's proponents of speed to lead out there where, you know, they'll call within the 5 minutes of registration. And I didn't jive with that. I just found it a little strange calling someone and they were like, no, I just got on, I'm just browsing. Like, you know, they haven't had time to look at anything. And to me, like, I didn't do well with that. And that's what it's about, just finding what works well for you, what you're comfortable doing. Because if you're like forcing yourself and just kind of doing something that you're like hesitant to do, it's not going to come out really well. So
what do you, if you're calling a lead that's been on the system, let's just say for 5 or 6 days, what is your verbiage?
Yeah, so I'll say, hey, it's Priscilla, just checking in. You were on my website looking at some homes for sale. And if they're out of town, I'll say in Calgary, because we have a ton of out of town buyers over here. Right. Yeah, just wanted to check in, see how your home search is going and if I can help in any way. And then from there, I just take it and I gauge if they're busy. I'm not gonna like try to keep them on, you know, because then they're just not gonna want to answer my call in the future, right? So I'm respectful of their tone, and you know, if I hear there's crying babies in the background, I'll, you know, I'm not gonna keep them on. Right. And it's like, yes, I'll ask questions to further the dialogue. But it's really like there's no black and white answer, really. You just have to help people out. And do you find they're receptive? Like, you're seeing a change now that you're calling just a couple of days in, right? Yeah, they're receptive, and and I come more from a place of what information can I provide, you know, more than like I need to get them in my car. Like, yes, we do want to get them in our car, but if they're not there yet, you know, you just really kind of ask them, like, where are you at in your process? What can I provide for you to make it easier? You know, would it be easier if I do this for you or something like that, right? Like, just coming from a place of value and like not focusing too much on the end game at all. Like, you know, money and top producer awards, that's just an outcome of you helping people, right? So it's if you focus on that, if you have like dollar signs in your eyes or commission breath, you know, like they'll block your number. You know, so it's your focus should be helping people, figuring out where they are, figuring out how they operate, and then the outcome is, you know, your paychecks and all that. So
it's more of the customer service approach to the whole, like, in facilitating their search, regardless of where they're at in the process. And then people, generally speaking, will be more receptive to that because they're not feeling any kind of pressure. Yeah. And really, you have to get to a point where if your pipeline is low, that's your problem. You cannot make the lead feel it, right? Like if you don't have enough leads and you need that paycheck, that's, you know, you need to get honest with yourself and figure that out. That's a different problem. But when you're speaking with a lead, their problem is not your pipeline or your paycheck. So you need to get over that, right? So, and it does, because I've talked to individuals in the past, and just by talking to them, knowing that them just being open that they're in a position where they're struggling a bit financially, what have you, and then just having conversations and the frustration and everything that's coming through, is like I can almost guarantee that same or similar tone is coming through the phone when he's talking to these people. So if I hear someone, they feel anxious, or the way that they're talking to me makes me feel uncomfortable, right? So I want to get off that call as fast as I can, because I don't feel like they're, you know, whatever they're saying is they're actually being honest with me at this point. Yeah. And something I learned is people are highly intuitive in real estate. Like, don't underestimate the client being able to pick up on that. Like, they'll know right away if you don't have their interests at heart. They're going to pick up on that right away. And you know, you might think you're sounding sly, but you know, they'll pick up on that right away. So you really gotta nail down your mindset and your just where you are mentally when you're talking with these people, and just really making sure that you're focusing on them and respecting their timelines and their goals, right? Not yours.
I mean, we talk about this a lot, where when we're doing our calls, when we're working our leads, and Priscilla, you said it beautifully, when we come out of a place of contribution, right? We're not self-serving, we're not, we are commission salespeople, but we're going to get zero if we do a high pressure approach.
Mhm.
People will respond better. Priscilla, do you want to tell everybody about the change that you did to revamp everything that you were doing, and then what it led to you being in March at your brokerage?
Yeah, so the change was, I guess, when I got your package with how to set up my drip campaign. So I've sat down for a few hours and set all that up. It's very much, you got to sit down, and it's hard, I know, because as realtors, we always get ideas thrown at us, and we want to like do everything, and we get overwhelmed with like, oh my God, should I implement this process? Should I do that? But yeah, sometimes you got to sit down for like a half day or full day and revamp a whole system. So so I set up the whole drip campaign, and made sure everything was to a T, tested it out, and then I really just did like some getting honest with myself, and I also record my phone calls too, so I can go back and kind of listen and see how my communication is, and just really, like, I just don't even think about my numbers or I don't even think about my goals. I really don't. I just, when I'm talking with people, all I want to know is what's going on with them. I'm curious about them. And that's been the biggest change, is like people before numbers. And, and it actually coincided, like when I started coaching with Tara, it coincided with a new team in brokerage for me, where they were also huge proponents of that. And it could also come down to who you're surrounded with as well, right? And it could come down to so many things. So you really have to constantly evaluate what's going on in your life, and what's going on in your mind, because I always tell people, your performance as a realtor is very, very often linked to what's going on personally in your life, right? So if you're not in a good place, or if you're surrounded by, not great people that are not helping your mindset, then that's something to look at too, right? It goes beyond your processes and systems and the number of calls that you do. It goes way beyond that. So,
So what were you able to achieve in March?
Yeah, in March I did eight deals, and 7 of the 8 were all agent locator related. It was either like a fresh new lead or snowball effect of a lead. There was another good story about my March deals was, so last year in March, so I was on another team where we were getting agent locator leads, but like 1 to 2 leads a week. So it was distributed amongst the members. And it was actually a lottery winner client. So she had won the lottery, a huge sum of money. So she bought a house with me last March in Calgary. And then this year, like January or February, she calls me and she's like, I'm tired of my city house. I want an acreage. I'm like, okay, let's go acreage shopping. So we go acreage shopping, and then turns out she doesn't like any of the acreages, and she gets this idea of, getting a movable house put on a bare piece of land. So now I have to find her a bare piece of land. And then she tells me one day, she goes, oh, I have my meeting set up with the movable house people. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure, I'll come. But I was only planning on going for learning and education purposes, and also to ask questions to the rep about like what to look for in the land we're buying. Yeah. So I go, and it turns out they actually pay full commissions on whatever movable house your client buys if they show up with the realtor the first visit, kind of like the new home sale centers. So that turned into 2 deals. So that was like my 3rd deal with her. And then when her movable house is ready, which will be next year, then I'm going to list her Calgary house, right? So again, like it's, and that movable house presentation, if I just had like commissions in mind, I bet that meeting, like I'm not going to get paid, but I didn't even know I was going to get paid, but I just went to be of better service because I knew I was going to get some information that I needed to be able to find her the suitable parcel of land. I had no idea I was going to get paid on that. So that just goes to show, like, if you don't always expect, a specific result, you'll just attract abundance, and
Exactly. So Crystal, you know what I hear? Do you know me well enough now? Oh, my leads are
Yeah.
no good. Well, listen, lottery winners go on Google search and agent locator captures
Yeah.
them,
Yeah,
right?
there we
Yeah.
actually got another client with a lottery winner in their
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, there's
they
all
go
sorts
out
of
there. They
people.
don't necessarily have realtors, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the moral of the story is Google leads are good.
Yes.
Everybody is convertible. People, lottery winners do Google searches just like you and me, looking for realtors or looking for houses. And agent locator captured them and put them into one of their clients' dashboards.
Yeah, it's really brilliant.
Mhm.
And I always, whenever I start my
Yeah.
call sessions, I always think I get into a really grateful mindset. And I'm like, this is just brilliant, this system. I have all these numbers to call, and these are warm leads to me. They're not cold leads. I think they're warm leads because
I do too.
they've reached out to us basically.
Yep.
And I have my office is right in front of a window here, and before I start my calls, if it's like super rainy or snowy outside, I look out the window and I'm like, it's so great that I can just like stay in here and make my calls and not have to go door knocking. I'm not saying don't go door knocking, but I'm saying I'd much rather do calls than go door knocking.
Yes.
And I'm fully grateful that we have technology on our side and these systems to help us just pick up the phone and call people, and if you gotta just be grateful about it too, right?
And you know what, we're very grateful for you, Priscilla, because it's really easy for people to listen to Crystal and I, talk about this, but when there's so many success stories, and it does start with mindset. It starts with going, I have to change if I want to have success.
Yeah.
Would there be any final things that you would kind of advise our listeners today that really made a big difference for you?
I can share like a little technique I have. Maybe some people will be able to find a parallel from it, but so I'm from Quebec and I'm fluent in French. And I moved here in 2013. So whenever I get a lead that has that 514 area code, or that I can see in the map where that they're in Quebec, or if they have like a super French name, I'll try to call them. They usually don't answer, and then I'll send a text in French and say, hey, like I noticed you were on my website looking at homes for sale in Calgary. I moved here from Montreal in 2013. So, if you want any insights on how to make this move work, feel free to call me. And it works every time. Like if I get those, so, if someone's in Calgary and, right now we're getting a ton of BC and Ontario buyers, try to like find that common ground, tell them like, hey, I am from Ontario and I moved here as well. Right. Like, and try to build
something that's relatable that you've experienced that you can pass that knowledge on as well. Right. So don't spend too much time on reading into the but try to find like if you can find something like that. There's something, but that's also going into conversation as well. That if it's not something obvious like that in your situation, it's on the call. Like you can pick up little bits through a conversation. And that's why if you're just treating it as a conversation and now you're building that relationship, it could be that they're looking for acreage with a shop. Let's talk about that shop. Maybe they own a business. Start talking about things that interest them. But also there might be something where you have that common or similar interest that now walls completely drop and you're really building that relationship because they feel comfortable talking to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot more casual. There's no pressure. There's no nothing, right?
Yeah. The other day I was talking with someone. She was saying that she needs to find a bigger place because her parents moved in with her and she's taking care of them. So all I said was, well, that's really selfless of you to take care of your parents like that. And then that was like, the walls came down and
right.
So you hear the whole backstory surrounding it.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's good because you also said earlier on that you recognize that when they're on your dashboard, they're on other realtors' dashboard. That's just the way this works, right? People register all over. And you're making a difference when you're communicating with them that a lot of other agents don't do, right? Because they're thinking, I want immediate, I want them in the car, I want a deal. Whereas you're becoming, as Crystal said, relatable. You're finding that common ground. I've always said this, and I think I'll go to my grave saying this. I believe when we're converting, and we're converting at a high level, like I am and so many other realtors are, it's because we have a way of building trust with these people right away. So what you say, what you hear really does impact people, because we're not meeting them face to face. So the onus is on us while we're communicating through email, talking on the phone, even texting, to approach in a way that somebody can go, I can relate to that person just by that one line, right? So no commission sales breath, right? Our hat is on, but we're portraying something entirely different. And it's not that hard to do if you just take a step back, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's realizing what you're doing today is where your business is going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9, 12 months plus from now, right? So it's, if we kind of get out of our head that, yeah, I'm calling these people and I know no one's going to be buying, we're going to be looking, there might be the odd one, of course, but the chances of them being in the car with me this weekend are pretty slim to none, right? So once you kind of wrap and you're okay with that, it's gonna be a lot easier to make those calls, because you're not putting the pressure on yourself or passing that pressure on to the lead.
Yeah, yeah. I'm honored to have known you.
Yeah.
She's just, I can see why people would work with you. Very personable, very relationship building, and you're doing a good job.
Yeah, I've always known I didn't want to be a transaction chaser. That's something I learned in the beginning, and I just had to take time to figure that out, how to be more of a relationship builder. And it takes time, like you just, the more people you talk to, the more you figure out, okay, and I always try to, when I do calls, like there's the business portion, but then there's the personal portion, right? Like not getting too personal, but like you got to mix it up. It's not just like how many bedrooms you want, how many bathrooms, like you got to go after the bigger picture. And yeah.
Good. Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
What I kind of like about this, and just what Priscilla is saying versus how I know you operate, is you're both essentially using the same drip, right? So I'm sure both of you have made your own modifications here and there. Well, I know Tara does. But I also know that Tara waits quite a while before she actually reaches out to her leads. She's in there watching, but she's not like, 3 days in calling them. What's nice to see is that it's the same campaign in 2 different strategies, and it's still working.
Yep.
Right. One person is waiting a lot, what are you, like 3 to 4 weeks kind of in there, 21 to 30 days?
But it also depends on the activity, because I'm also watching the relogin notifications. So if I see somebody really, really busy on my login, I'm definitely going to be reaching
out. Yeah. But it's just nice to see that there is that, again, it's still sitting there. And as like Priscilla says, she doesn't feel bad that she's not calling right away, because she has a system in place that's helping her with those follow-ups.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly really what any campaign should be doing. It should be facilitating and facilitating what we're already doing, right? It's kind of there, and we're piggybacking on that. So it's just that extra tool to help us get to where we want to go to.
Remember, this is lead generation is a pillar, or should be a pillar, of everybody's business, right? We should have usually 3 to 5 pillars. So we know lead gen is a pillar. That pillar now has to be programmed to work. Our drip campaign is a no-brainer. You have to have it with Google pay-per-click leads. You have to have the ability to send them listings along with the drip campaign. But what Priscilla has showed us, what other realtors have said, along with that goes time blocking. where
Yeah.
now I am 3 to 4 days a week calling 25 of my leads a day. And she picks some that are in the first week, and then she goes to her older ones.
Mhm.
We're talking about a realtor that is working the pillar of her business with a system, right?
Mhm.
And that's exactly how real estate should always be run, right? Not fly by the night, right? Programmed, and then you'll notice that now the leads are responding more, right?
Mhm.
Because you're working it like you would do if you were going to Tim Hortons and working a 9-to-5 job. This is
Yeah.
what I know I have to do. And Priscilla's very diligent at making sure that she's got this system and she's going to do it this way. Now, we talked about this before. Priscilla, are there days, and you mentioned this, if it's a really gloomy day or if I'm not really having a good day, are you okay to say to yourself, today, I'm probably not going to come across real good on these 25 calls? Are you okay to push it to the following day instead?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but yeah, like if I'm dealing with something that's
Yeah.
really preoccupying me, you know, I don't use it as a constant excuse by no means. But if there is a day where really like I'm really not feeling it,
Mhm.
you know, then I don't feel bad because there's the drip campaign that I know set up really well.
Yeah.
And also because I most of the time do the calls when I'm supposed to make them. Yeah, it doesn't happen often, but you know, we're all human, you know, like it's so it's if I know I'm gonna have a really subpar calling session, I'll probably skip it.
Mhm.
But I don't make it a habit, and I don't just use any little small excuse. And I do have an accountability partner. It's actually my mortgage broker, and you make your calls, and I'm like, so then I got to do them because or else I get in trouble. So,
Let's talk
or-
about that.
yeah, like sometimes it's like 4 p.m. and sorry.
When did you decide that you wanted to do an accountability partner?
I think it's been about 3 months or so, I would say. Yeah, sometimes like it's like 4 p.m. and then he contacts me and then I'm like, okay, I got to do my calls. And it's like I was ready to like clock out for the day and then I just whatever do an hour of calling and you know, so yeah, accountability really helps because yeah. Yeah.
Well, it is. And I think that's a struggle that a lot of people have with their leads in general. And in some cases, their entire business in general is because you're working for yourself. There's no one breathing over your shoulder requiring that you do this, right? You have to self-motivate yourself and find, you know, and go back to Tara's, your why. Why are we doing this? To you know, encourage ourselves and keep ourselves accountable to stay on track, because it can be very easy to get distracted or procrastinate, find other things that we think are more important, right? So there's always that going on. So having, you know, for anyone else that may be struggling, find that accountability partner, right? You know, have something, create little competitions with each other, right? Like, let's see who can get whatever, whoever doesn't do it has to buy our coffees on Friday, right? We'll go for coffee, and that's the person who has to treat is the person that didn't.
I like that.
Whatever. You know, it's something simple, it's not expensive, and it's fun, right? And you really are only going to come out ahead from it all. And you might get a free coffee every now and then.
Right. Great work. This is amazing. I'm so glad you came on with us, Priscilla.
Yeah, it was fun.
Any other words of wisdom? Does anybody have questions for Priscilla? Feel free to participate.
We do have, well, there's a couple questions in here, but they're more or less, I guess John's just looking to get in touch with you. So Saket is asking about the campaign. So Tara has now relaunched her, what is it, that crazy thing?
Yeah, I'm in the
Process of
yeah,
relaunching.
It's still a fair bit away. John, I see that you, sorry, I wasn't really paying attention to that. I think you did try to call me once. I do remember that. I haven't been taking on clients for well over a year. Priscilla was on my wait list for quite a while, but the exciting news for this crazy thing called lead gen is there have been realtors that have been sort of following me that have expressed an interest, which has been my goal from the very beginning when I launched my company, was to have other really great realtors in place to also teach the program that I have created. So I'm still in talks with somebody to kind of come in where I can continue to do what I do here at our neighborhood realty, and then somebody else can develop the program. And it is going to be, if everything works out good, relaunched in a whole different way. So, Priscilla, you got some wonderful one-on-one time with me. We're going to be incorporating videos and doing training that way. So everybody's just got to bear with me, because this mama bear cannot develop into anymore. So there is now, I don't want to go into too much detail, but Crystal, I know that Agent Locator is also coming up with different drips that, am I allowed to share?
Yeah, you can. Like, there's just, and it's we're always so, and because it really comes down to our clients, right, and what they're looking for. We also look at our competitor systems from time to time to see what they're offering, right? But yeah, so it's revamping just some of the standard content that comes with your website. Having those, those updated, because they haven't been updated in a long time. But also just like simple like, so we had like first time buyer campaign. That's a common one that a lot of people are looking for. And again, anyone that's asking for campaigns for Agent Locator, and there's some scenarios where we actually need your help, because we are not, we can come up with what we think and do our research, but at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that actually work the industry. So, if there is unique campaigns that everyone can benefit from, we're always open doors to suggestions on these ideas. It's just in many cases, we need your help to do it at the same time. And that's where we resort to like individuals like Tara. We resort to some people in the States, because again, we have US and Canadian clients. So when we're doing this, we're trying to make it as, generic as we can, that it's applicable in both countries.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, I mean, it took a while, but they gave me two or three extensive drip campaigns. And I reworked them a little bit, but there is some amazing content. Amazing. So for those that are uncertain of how to create their own, you can also go back and watch the videos, Crystal, that you and I have done now for a year and a half, because we've actually gone through multiple steps of how everybody can also write their own, where to start and where to end. But I don't know when you're launching, or if you already have put the new drips into place.
I don't know if they have yet. No, because I would have to add them. So no, they're not added in there yet. I was like, wait a minute. No, I haven't had to do that yet. But they are also doing like a buyer and seller guide for you guys, right? So those will be included so that you guys will be able to send them. Obviously, you may want to modify them because you're going to have that ability to do so. But they will be there. So
there's lots of exciting things coming up. And I only know, I'm sure, a little bit. I don't even know the rest.
Changing. It's always changing. It's implementing. It's putting it all together, and it kind of goes back.
Now, can we see them?
Pardon?
Lower at all?
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit.
Did I? Okay. Google searches. I've noticed on the client backend page on Facebook, a lot of people are saying they're not getting the number of leads. Is there kind of any update on, is the Google searches kind of down a little bit lately?
I haven't talked to Sunny about that lately, but I have had some people bringing it to the attention that it's down a little bit. Where are we at? May? It's hard to say. I would have to talk to Sunny to see if he's noticed that. As far as a drop, it can be also different areas. Obviously, there's every area is a different market, right? So it could be relative to those areas that are being targeted or exactly what somebody is looking for, right? Some people get more specific with their ads, which obviously will create a lower lead count, a higher cost per click. So, you know, it's always looking at all the different facets of, like, it's not just one just generic area, that one blanket, because we have, and Google's always changing, and our team here is amazing, because if you ever do notice, like, hey, like it seems like things are slowing down, they will go in there and they will see if there's any adjustments, and if there is any adjustments and tweaks that they can make, like bidding strategies or whatever it might be, they will, you know, test that to see, okay, is this going to help push it up again? But it's Google's a funny thing. Like, it's kind of like running Facebook ads. You can run the same ad, one completely flops and then the other one just like takes off, right? It's sometimes it's almost like unexplainable what's
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah, okay. Well, I did notice that there was a little bit, that there was a few people experiencing it. So
Mhm.
to Sunny, is there anybody else there that they could reach out to if they're kind of?
Their best bet is to just even reach out to support, because they'll
Okay.
push it to the marketing, and then so support at agentlocator.ca, they'll push it in there. So if there is anything going on with their campaigns, they will look into it. Like, even just the request will cause them to look at your campaign. They of course get reports on all your guys' stuff through Google, right? So they try their best to catch these things before you even notice that it's happening, because they'll get some like alert, right? They're like, oh shoot,
Okay,
okay, we need to make this adjustment here.
got
They've
it.
got a lot of accounts though, a lot of accounts that they get those little ding, ding.
I
Yeah.
guess. Well,
Yeah.
when Sunny spoke at our Apex, he was one of our guest speakers.
Mhm.
I think he said you guys were up to about 7,000 between Canada and the US, if I'm not mistaken,
They're
registered.
probably close. Yeah, that 7 campaign.
And that was in February.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's probably more since then. Like with any business, people come on, people drop off, people come on, people drop off. But yeah, in
Right.
February, that's when we're going to start to see. So February through March, April, that's when we start to see everyone's getting on board with their leads, right? They
Okay,
start
perfect.
to do that. So yeah, it could be around there. It always generally hovers, right? And even then, a lot of campaigns they could be on, but very low budget, right? So I always advise, and will always advise, is to never, if you can manage to do this, is to never actually shut your campaign off. So if you're going on holidays, or you're, you know, need to take a step back because you need to kind of work on the leads you have and work your systems there, is to decrease your ad spend, you know, to $50 a month, $20, $25 a month. That way the ad is still running, because your ad itself has created algorithms and it's positioned itself within Google. If you turn it off, you're starting right back from square one again.
Right. Right.
So it's you know, trying to just put a pause on it, or put a little bit, you know, so you really might get a lead or two, but you know, but it keeps your ad running at least, so that you're not losing that momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else, Priscilla. Remember, Priscilla had a lottery winner register on her dashboard. You know, if you want to win the lottery, you got to buy the tickets, and you got to buy probably, I'd want to know how many tickets she's been buying, but you got to buy multiple, right? And I think,
Yeah.
you know, I noticed a big difference, even though right from the get-go, I started converting very quickly. But I noticed that my conversion levels went up so much higher when I really said I got to bump up my budget rather than staying at the low level. I did recognize that lead generation is a numbers game. We have to have a volume come in, work them the same way with all the systems, right, that we're doing, but the conversion is going to come quicker and quicker and more because we have a higher volume to work. And for me, as a single mother, you know what I mean? It was one of those, oh my gosh, how much am I spending? Oh my gosh. And I really had to do that mind over matter. Tara, this is for your business. This is for your children, right? One deal pays more than a year of my entire costs that I'm spending.
Yeah.
Right. And it
Transaction.
really had to become that mental. No. I have to do this. Right. And that's what I think it takes a lot of realtors a real difficult time wrapping their head around something, spending something that they feel they don't necessarily have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be tricky, but yeah. One transaction for any of you covers your cost for the year.
And sometimes more.
Yeah, sometimes more, and you still have money in your pocket, right?
Priscilla's a good example, right? You know, the one client who she took out who said, no, I don't like this. These houses are all crap. I'm not moving. That's it. I'm staying. You know, then a very short time later, she did 4 deals.
Yeah, I got like 10 years covered. You know. And
So
yeah,
right.
I'm
Why
a single
would you
mom too, and I've struggled too with the cost, but it's just, I see it as an investment and it's necessary because everyone does Google searches now. Like that's how people search for anything. So
yeah,
you know, like it's going to be hard. I don't know how people do it without online leads. Like I would have a lot less deals. I would have to go door knocking a lot.
Yes.
Right? Real estate 101. A realtor is a commission salesperson, and we have to put ourselves where the people are, right? That's why there's such a high level of social media marketing. You know, if you're going to up your game, up it with the Google leads, that to me is a no-brainer. Up it with social media, because that's where now the people are, right? But what a great session.
Yeah, no, it's really great. Yes.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, anytime. We'll like to kind of monitor your success as you progress now.
Yeah.
Should be good, but it's, I guess, for everyone that is watching, it just goes to show if you call in your leads and you focus more about the lead rather than the money attached to them, you're going to find a greater success, right? So we're more customer service focused, not transactional focused.
And another thing to keep in mind is when you do sign up for online leads, you may not see your first turnaround for a while, right? So you got to be prepared for that too. It's not it's so rare that people act right away, and that's just the way it is, you know. So so
being okay
but
with
it's
the process.
worth waiting, and
Awesome.
Well said. All right, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Priscilla. Thanks, Tara.
bye.
See you.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.